Digital. Jaguars Digital. Jaguars Drive Time. Brian Sexton, John Oehser, Ashlyn Sullivan. Jaguars Drive Time starts right now.
Friday, welcome in Jaguars Drive Time, brought to you by Jet Home Loans. Today, getting ready to head to Minnesota to take on the Vikings on Sunday at 1 o'clock game. And like every Friday, we welcome in Jaguars head coach Doug Marrone. Doug, you have announced that Mike Glennon will be the starting quarterback for the second week in a row. Also mentioned that Gardner Minshew is back 100% healthy. So what made Glennon the clear choice here this week?
I just think that, obviously it's performance-based on, what he did the last game. And I think you look for a couple things. You look for one, when you put a quarterback in there, is he going to be able to, handle the football? Meaning, is he going to turn it over? Whether it's exchanges or whether it's obviously in the air. And I thought Mike did an excellent job of that. I also liked, some of the deep shots, that we need to take. So, he was able to take some of those, and then he had some really good throws with accuracy. And again, I just felt that, he's in a good situation right now. He's been playing well, practicing well. And, let's see him take a step now. I mean, he hasn't played in a long period of time, and this is the first time that he played. So we're looking for improvement as we head up to Minnesota.
There's a communication factor with the quarterback as well. And he said, hey, it's nice to get a second straight week working with the same guy at that position. I assume that played into it a little bit too.
Well, we've had a bunch of players, going in and out, at the receiver position. DJ's been down for a while. And, last week we had Trey Quinn up, and he went down right away. We wound up with just, the three receivers taking most of the snaps. Chris Conley's been out. But he has been working with a lot of these players. So, again, the continuity in another week, I think that obviously that helps. And, Mike's handled it well. Mike's a veteran quarterback, and he knows exactly what we need to get done.
Coach, there's been so much talk this year, rightly so, about James Robinson. But tell me about the offensive line in front of it. He obviously can't run without holes. It strikes me that they've had a really good run blocking season.
Yeah, I think James is about third or fourth in attempts from rushing. Obviously, he's third in the NFL in rushing yards. So, obviously someone's got to be doing something. And, the tight ends are involved. Obviously, the offensive line, obviously the receivers are a big part of it too. So really everyone's involved in that. So, he's really had a very consistent year. And it's just a shame because, in some of these games where we had to, throw the football because we were behind, there's no telling, what his numbers would have looked like, if we were a bit in closer games, earlier on, or he didn't have to throw to get back in the game. I think his numbers would be much better. So he's doing everything we asked him.
Coach, over the years, you've told stories about your time with Coach Shula and the time that you spent in Pittsburgh with Chuck Noll. Any recollections of Bud Grant and what he built up there? I mean, I grew up in the upper Midwest, and so I have fond memories of those great Vikings teams. And you go up there, there's still a Bud Grant residue on this organization.
Yeah, I believe so. I think, when I first went there, Jerry Burns was the head football coach. So Coach Burns was there. And my first meeting with Coach Grant, with the team, was Coach Grant always brought the team and taught the team how to stand for the national anthem. That's the first time I ever really met Coach Grant. We went out there, the full team. He talked to us, told us about what it meant. And then he had all of us on the sideline, helmet, chin strap, hold the chin strap, hold your helmet in your left hand, put your hand over your heart, look at the flag. So that was his deal. I mean, he did that for many years. And I think there's always a sense of, I guess Coach Grant was a big hunter. So he liked to hunt deer. So there was always a bunch of deer feeders around the practice field. And, so you're right. I mean, he's always hovering over that franchise in a positive way.
It's funny you say the story about the national anthem, because I asked Mike Mularkey in 2012 when we went up there to play the opener about Bud Grant, because obviously he played there, and he said the exact same thing. So that residue is there. Quick question about your team. Dalvin Cook, obviously 5.2 yards per carry, and you're down Devon Hamilton and Avery Jones. So who gets the call, and what have you seen from the young guys in the middle of your defensive line this week?
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Colley will go in there. He's been playing for us, and he's been solid. I mean, he's really tough to move. But, Doug Costin will have to be in there. We'll have to rotate some guys around and really sort it up. But like you said, I think Cook's a great challenge for us. I mean, he has elite speed. He can cut. He can, go forward, backwards, just cut on a dime. Backside, we've got to get a lot of people to him, and you got to run through tackles. And, when you're committing yourself to stopping him, Jefferson, Thielman are on the outside. Kirk Cousins is playing well. The tight end's a good football player. So, it's kind of like a chess match. You're hoping that you have the right call when they're trying to run the football, and you're hoping you have the right call when they try to throw it. So, the manageable, if they stay in manageable down and distances, then, it's a little bit, the advantage goes to the other side. But if we can get them in a manageable down and distances for us defensively, then the advantage can shift back to us. So it's going to be an interesting challenge, and we're excited about it.
Coach, you mentioned a lot of people have gone into the success of James Robinson, but when he's in his press conferences and we try to talk to him about Pro Bowl or Offensive Rookie of the Year, he goes, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Do you ever get anything out of him and try to relive this season and all the success he's had, or is he kind of the same way with you?
No, he's the same way. I mean, he's been the same way since day one. And I think, I think a lot of times in this league when someone does well, people are always looking to kind of jump onto the bandwagon. Like, hey, if it wasn't for me, this guy would have. And I've never had that type of mentality. My mentality is that, everybody has an opportunity. Everybody has a chance to show what they can do. And then it's just a matter of those who take advantage of the opportunity. And I think James has been outstanding in that. His discipline, his humility. I mean, you see the same player. He practices the same way every day. I think the thing that I love about him the most is, the consistency. And I'm not just talking about the performance. I think everyone can see that. What people can't see is the consistency of how he prepares, how he gets himself ready to play, how focused he is. And you really can't rattle him. I've tried to. I've tried to do the same thing that you're talking about, rattle him up saying, oh, you're going to change or anything like this and joke around with him. But, he's still the same guy every single day.
A steady guy, that's for sure. Well, head coach Doug Marrone, we appreciate your time. Stay warm in Minnesota and good luck.
Great. Thank you.
Of course, and coming up on Jags Drive Time, a game preview presented by Simply IOA. But first, let's recognize our frontline worker, presented by Farah and Farah.
David Oehser is our Farah and Farah Frontline Worker of the Week. Oehser is the owner of Sanibel Delivery and was the primary source on Sanibel and Captiva Islands for home goods, groceries, and prescriptions at the height of the pandemic. David worked tirelessly through long days and sometimes long nights, making sure that the elderly and folks who were at high risk for COVID-19 had what they needed. David worked despite the risk to his own health and that of his family, making sure that anyone who needed help got it. He even made and delivered his custom face masks to customers who needed one. The Jacksonville Jaguars and Farah are proud to recognize David Oehser as this week's Frontline Worker of the Week.
Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
The best thing about working at Farah and Farah is all of the employees. We all work together. It's extremely enjoyable to come to work every day.
There's a common cause or goal. No matter what your job is, we're all there for the client.
We are dedicated to our clients 100%. We do everything it takes to maximize the value of their claims.
Farah and Farah is really the Farah family. When they choose us, they choose a family to fight for them and to protect them and to make sure that they're in a good place and that they have somebody on their side.
Farah and Farah, here for you, here for good. Jacksonville. The wait for the holidays is over, America. It's time to make some joy. And we're here to help with the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event. We're offering the best deals of the season across the Ford lineup, so you can road trip with the whole family comfortably in a Ford Expedition. Bring home a tree that's bigger than you ever have with a built Ford Tough F-150. And find new ways to make the holidays bright this year when you visit your local Ford dealer. The joy is up to you, America, so let's get to it. Ford, built for the holidays.
Jags Drive Time is presented in part by TIAA Bank, created to serve, built to perform. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
Farah reminds you to continue to wear a mask, help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Farah protecting you and your family since 1979. Back on Jags Drive Time, not as cold of a morning here in Jacksonville on this Friday morning. Will be a bit colder in Minnesota as we get into a game preview presented by Simply IOA. And our first point is help Mike Glennon, the starting quarterback this week for the second week in a row. That means block, tackle, catch, and run. Mike Glennon is your best chance to win, but not by himself. When the ball is thrown your way, you have a chance to catch it. It goes without saying, but the Jaguars cannot afford to waste opportunities and shoot themselves in the foot. Gotta help Mike Glennon every way that you can. All right, second point. Hinder Kirk Cousins. Make this man's life a little bit difficult. At the start of the season, he was turning the ball over way more than he would have liked. Make that comeback in some way, somehow. Break up passes and put it all on Dalvin Cook. Attempt to make the Vikings offense one-dimensional. Third point, run Robinson. This is every week. It will continue to be every week. This is going to be a game preview point probably for many seasons to come, but rely on this guy, James Robinson. We just heard head coach Doug Marrone talk about how consistent he is. So, obviously, a key point to hopefully beating the Vikings on Sunday. We go back up to big thing one, and we go to Brian Sexton. Mike Glennon, you just heard Doug Marrone say he wants some consistency at this position, but like we said, this guy can't do it by himself.
No, catch the ball. Block for him, run, tackle. You hit on all the points. In fact, these points are so simple that I want to tell a Minnesota story and not even talk about them because they just all make sense. I mean, we're asking what this team has to do. You mentioned the weather off the top. You know it's going to be 37 degrees in Minneapolis, right? I mean, that's like an autumn day for them. Autumn day for them up there, right? In 1998, the Jaguars went there for the very first time. And, you know, we land and we pull away. We don't go through the airport. And they opened the doors, right? And this long metal tube of an airplane. It was a 757. And they opened the front door and the back door at the same time, and the air went through. And, I mean, it was like a frozen knife that went through everyone instantaneously. And everybody looked at each other and went, oh, my God. It was zero, right? And the wind was blowing. And I can remember, thank God, we're playing indoors, right? And every player said the same thing. Thank God we're playing indoors. And all I could think of that day was they should be playing outdoors. Because every team that has to go up there and play, especially teams from below the Mason-Dixon line, are thinking about how cold it is there in December. And if they got off that airplane to that frigid, frozen tundra up there, they would be psyched out before the game even began. I'm telling you, that day I saw big, tough guys look like, my God, is it cold up here. So Sunday is going to feel like autumn, like late summer to the people in Minnesota.
Oh, goodness. Yes, I'm upset we're not traveling. However, December, Minnesota, not that upset this week. All right, John,
let me tell you
Kirk
something.
Cousins.
The Nicollet Mall is a beautiful place.
It is. And it's indoors. That's his key to success. John, Kirk Cousins. This is the guy that is definitely improving week to week. Dalvin Cook, you still want to pay attention to him, but don't discount the passing game for the Vikings because at this point in their season, they are definitely two-dimensional.
Well, he is. Kirk, as he has been since he got in Minnesota, has been sort of off and on. He's been on the last 4 or 5 games, and that's why they have made their run in November. He's a really good player, but as you mentioned in your big things, if you pressure him, you can force him into mistakes. the key there, as we talked about all season, they have to stop the running game, which this week means Dalvin Cook. In all the previews I've done this week and all the talking and all the writing that I do, I think this is a brutal matchup for the Jaguars because of that balance. I'm not sure that manpower-wise, defensively, they can get everything that the Vikings have stopped. They have two really good receivers, a good tight end. We've talked about tall tasks in the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. Offensively, stopping this balanced offense feels like the tallest to me.
I agree with you, and it definitely would be a tall task still if the starting defense was back on the field. You get Josh Jones back at safety, but for example, we mentioned with Doug, Brian, that no Devon Hamilton, no Avery Jones. So to now ask these guys, hey, go out there and stop Dalvin Cook, the tallest of tasks, I guess you could say.
Just don't expect them to be able to slow them down. The defense from the beginning of the season was, I don't want to say liability, I don't know that that's fair, but it was the side of the ball that needed the most help. The offense was either going to be able to keep pace and score points and ask the defense to do what it's done pretty well this year, which is, break serve here and there, get you a turnover, give you good field position, a fourth down stand like they did last week against Cleveland. This defense wasn't built to be able to line up and shut someone down. And now you're saying Mike Lennon, he is your best defensive player on Sunday. He is the guy who is either going to give your defense the help it needs or put it in a more difficult position.
Indeed, a tough matchup on Sunday against the Vikings, and that is your game preview. When we come back, he will, he won't, he might for Sunday's game in Minnesota coming up.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
The wait for the holidays is over, America. It's time to make some joy. And we're here to help with the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event. We're offering the best deals of the season across the Ford lineup, so you can road trip with the whole family comfortably in a Ford Expedition. Bring home a tree that's bigger than you ever have with a built Ford Tough F-150. And find new ways to make the holidays bright this year when you visit your local Ford dealer. The joy is up to you, America, so let's get to it. Ford. Built for the holidays.
Like working outdoors and want better pay and benefits? Superior Fence and Rail is seeking full-time fence installers with pay ranging from $16 to $25 an hour and more with commercial experience. Superior Fence and Rail will train you to work with their professional team and provide you with all the tools you need to be a top-notch installer. Get off the fence. Call Superior Fence and Rail today and start your career.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Jags Drive Time is presented in part by Dreamfinders Homes, homes that fit your lifestyle. Next Grill, everyone's invited. And Adecco. Visit AdeccoUSA.com.
This season, the Jaguars are launching predictive gaming exclusively in the Jaguars mobile app. Choose a bingo card, pick your favorite 3 players, and place wagers to win prizes. Check the games out in the mobile app now. Back Jags Drive Time, Friday morning, which means we do He Will, He Won't, He Might for Sunday's game. Brian Sexton, a guy that had a pretty good game last week, but we would want to see more from him this week.
Yeah, I'll take Laviska Shenault. We all saw him at Colorado and the many different ways that Mel Tucker used him last year. And the Jaguars just haven't been able to do that this year, whether it's the quarterback being changed out or the circumstances of the game or the injury that he's been struggling with. But you saw last week his versatility. And, I'll start with he won't play quarterback, right? I mean, he's the emergency quarterback. You're not going to see that sort of gamesmanship with him. But he will be the guy, the X factor, if you will, that creates opportunity for everyone else. You know, James Robinson needs some help to open up the lanes. This Vikings defense is not the one that we've become accustomed to in the last 4 or 5 years. But they've still got speed, especially on the back end. And so Shenault is going to take some of the pressure with him. He's going to go down the field a bit. He's going to loiter in the middle of the field. He's going to be someone that safeties and linebackers are going to have to pay attention and match up with. And that should keep the defense sufficiently aware of a player that will mean that James Robinson can find some room. So he'll make room for Robinson. He will not be the quarterback, but he might have his first 2 touchdown game. I mean, I just see the ball going to him over and over and over this Sunday. Maybe that's because the Jaguars fall behind. Maybe it's because they are behind the sticks and have to throw on 3rd and long. But last week, the ball went into his hands and he made something happen nearly every time. If I'm Mike Glennon, a veteran quarterback, I'm looking for those youthful legs and that energetic presence in the middle of the field.
Definitely a guy that's fun to watch. Another guy that's fun to watch that's back this week is DJ Chark Jr. John, go for it.
And that's my he will, he won't, he might. He will play, which unfortunately for him, he's had a couple of nagging injuries this year. It contributes to his numbers being a little down. So I'm not sure the Pro Bowl, that sort of season, is in his sights this year. I think it's going to be a tough ask for him to reach last year's numbers. He won't be sorry when he looks behind center and sees Mike Glennon. The pass that Glennon made to Colin Johnson last week is the kind of pass that DJ Chark hasn't gotten enough this year. He misses that. He's a downfield threat. I think he'll thrive, or at least come close to thriving. He'll benefit from Mike Glennon being in there. He might, and I'm going to go the opposite of Brian, he might be the key offensively for the Jaguars this week. It goes without saying, the Jaguars are better with DJ Chark than without him. With apologies to James Robinson, who's been their most productive player, DJ is still as good as anybody on this offense. So he's the key to me. He might have his biggest day of the season with Mike Glennon at quarterback.
Nice. I like it. Want both of them to have a successful game on Sunday. I'm going defensive side of the ball, and I'm going Myles Jack. He will, he won't, he might. He will be a guy that we talk about post-game Sunday afternoon. Time is due for him to make a game-changing play. We've seen in his position, his natural position this season, definitely playing more free and definitely playing fast. So I see him making a big-time play on Sunday, maybe a turnover, something to give the offense another chance, and we credit that to Myles Jack. He won't make Dalvin Cook his number one priority and the only priority. That's because the Vikings have so many offensive weapons. I think more so he pays attention to tight end Kyle Rudolph going up the middle of the field. I think that matchup is very interesting to watch. And obviously, you got to pay attention to Dalvin Cook, but Myles Jack is such a versatile player. I think you put him on a variety of Vikings offensive weapons and see what happens. And he might wear a business suit post-game because he is now the co-owner of the Jacksonville Icemen. We talked about it yesterday in Top Tweets. I'm thinking now that he's got his briefcase going as an owner, he might step up his fashion game. Could be a possibility. That is, he will, he won't, he might for Sunday's game against the Vikings. When we come back, pick one and pick it going into this NFL weekend.
At ViStar, we believe in better convenience, so members can bank any way they want, whether it's at a branch, on a mobile device, or at one of more than 20,000 fee-free ATMs across North America. We believe that people have better things to do with their time. If you believe that convenience is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Pinpoint, the official signage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, helps business decision makers like you maximize the impact of their brand. Your company's identification, advertising, and even the words you use make an impression on your clients. With Pinpoint as your coach, you can make sure it's a good impression. Pinpoint provides the creative design and production services for anything you need to enhance your brand, from custom signage to complete marketing solutions. Step up your game with Pinpoint and create the ultimate brand experience for your clients. Visit experiencepinpoint.com.
The wait for the holidays is over, America. It's time to make some joy. And we're here to help with the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event. We're offering the best deals of the season across the Ford lineup, so you can road trip with the whole family comfortably in a Ford Expedition. Bring home a tree that's bigger than you ever have with a built Ford Tough F-150. And find new ways to make the holidays bright this year when you visit your local Ford dealer. The joy is up to you, America, so let's get to it. Ford, built for the holidays.
Back on Jags Drive Time, Friday morning, brought to you by Jet Home Loans. It's time for Pick One and Pick It going into this NFL weekend. 3 games that we will be watching and previewing right now. Brian Sexton, take it away.
All right. Well, last week I took Miami at the Jets because of the benefit that it posed, the possibility of a benefit for the Jaguars. Didn't work out. This week I'm doing the same thing, but the other first-round pick, Rams at Cardinals. Rams obviously have lost, 2 of their last 3. They're not playing all that well. Specifically, the quarterback is not playing all that well. And they can't lean on the running game like they have through this reincarnation of their greatness. I'm going with the Cardinals. I love the way that Kyler Murray is playing. But most importantly, I can't wait to watch the matchup of Jalen Ramsey versus DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, they were showing highlights of it earlier, and I got excited just remembering how much fun it was to watch those two match up. So I'll go with the Cardinals to keep the Rams reeling, because, when Jalen's around and things aren't good, things don't get better, they get worse. And I think that the Rams continue to struggle internally, and I think that the Cardinals rise above it, but I think that matchup will be fun.
Always is a fun one to watch. All right, John, what do you have?
I went with Browns-Titans, and it's fascinating to me how this season has played out. You really didn't expect the Browns to be here at the beginning of the season. You expected the Titans to be here, but they've kind of gotten there on a roller coaster. They were hot, and then they sort of slipped, and now they've beaten the Ravens and the Colts in the last couple weeks to get back into it. I think the Titans roll in this game. They feel like a team that's refound its identity, if you will. The Browns are good. They'll be in the playoffs. But the Titans feel to me like they're taking control, and they're working their way into that 3rd spot in the AFC behind Pittsburgh and Kansas City. So Titans big this week.
All right, I like it. The battle of the running backs in that game, that's for sure. I'm going Las Vegas Raiders and New York Jets. I got this game because what the heck has happened to the Las Vegas Raiders? Back-to-back losses, blowout loss last week to the Atlanta Falcons, 43-6. Derek Carr had 4 interceptions in that game, but do not fear, Raiders, because this week is the New York Jets, who are 30th in the NFL on pass defense. So, needless to say, I think Derek Carr gets some of his confidence back this week against the Jets and beats them. Brian, I don't think this is breaking news, but the Las Vegas Raiders need to get back in the win column, and this is the perfect opportunity for that.
Hold on now. Remember last year when we went out to Oakland? Final game for the Raiders at the fabled Coliseum. Remember we pulled up in that scene in the parking lot with everybody wearing the black Star Wars get-ups. And the black hole was in full glory that day, and the people wanted to attack the buses. And we said the Jaguars are going to get smoked, right? There's no way they're coming out here and beating this team that was in the playoff chase in the final game with all these crazies who are wanting to celebrate the franchise in Oakland and its heritage. And what do you know? The Jaguars beat them. I'm calling it. Jets get their win.
Whoa, that would be something. All right, I'm going to remember this Monday morning. We will talk about it. That is Jags Drive Time. Minnesota Vikings against the Jaguars. Sunday, we'll be back Monday morning, and we'll see If Brian's prediction is true, have a great weekend.